All right, we're live.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the NAFTA thing's a non-issue as of right now, but that'll be crazy if he does try
Yeah,
to go
let's
through with
see if we make it that far.
So
Well, you know,
what did he talk about with his tax plan? Like what does it entail? Because I didn't I saw the thread but I didn't read it. I was just like whatever.
what
he's
What
trying
is
what
to.
what do Republicans all want? That's all. That's all it boils down to. You know what it is.
Cut taxes for the rich. I mean,
Yeah,
Oh,
and the corporations. Don't
and the
forget them.
corporations, right?
But I guess the rich people though. At the end of the day, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it looked like they're trying to condense 7 tax brackets into 3, which
Oh
is
shit.
going to shift the debt onto the middle class and the poor.
that sounds dangerous. Real dangerous.
it's
I mean,
what
this is
what
what
he
they talk
actually
about.
released was an outline of what they would like to do. It's nothing final or anything like that.
Yeah,
And it was a
yeah.
summary.
And
It was a summary too of what they would like to do that they released to the
you
press.
know,
It
it's
wasn't
gonna
the actual
happen.
plan.
Oh wait. You know what? I heard something in the news the other day. Wasn't don't they have to vote on something because the government might go into another shutdown again? Isn't that coming up?
Yeah, Thursday, I
Uh,
think.
oh, that's tomorrow. Okay. Great.
Yeah, but
Potential shutdown. Yeah.
I think they talked Trump off the cliff because he wanted to include the border wall funding. There's nowhere for there's nowhere for the money to actually come from. So
Jesus, man.
I think he backed down on that. At least that's the last thing I read.
Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he definitely did.
And,
So the tax outline that they presented today, it didn't actually even didn't show any specifics as far as where those brackets fall. It seems to be a lot of people just automatically assuming it shits on the poor and the middle class without knowing where those percentages start and
well,
begin. It's just a lot of
yeah,
assumptions.
no, not really though, because you can look at it. I mean, there's 3 brackets.
Yeah, but what's the price point? Like, at what
Well, I
point do
think
people start paying 25? Like, you have to know the specifics before you can give anything concrete. I think it's a little premature.
no, I don't know about that though, because wasn't the top 25 or 35%?
The top is 35%. Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, we can assume that's people over 400,000 or 250,
sure.
and then the middle would be, I think it was 25. So probably, I mean, you can probably do math to figure out based on what the other 7 were and condense it.
And the other thing about it is like, how is this uh shocking or even newsworthy? I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea that people don't get that cutting taxes was the name of the game since day one. Like, I don't. People seem so shocked by it. Like, when has that ever not
Who's
been the
shocked? I'm not
plan?
shocked
But
by it.
Yeah, who? When
no,
has
Yeah,
that
because
I
ever
didn't
not
even
been the
read what it
plan?
was. I'm just
Yeah, like, when has
people
that
are
ever not
upset.
been the plan?
People are upset though because they know it doesn't work. It's trickle down economics. He's increasing spending while cutting taxes, and he's increasing taxes on the poorest people in the country.
The increase in
And he's
spending is
also
maybe they
got
should
problematic.
work
Yeah,
harder. You know, shit. They don't
the
work hard enough.
increase in spending is definitely problematic.
yeah,
He would have
especially when you're cutting taxes. Yeah,
yeah, he would have been doing pretty
especially
good if he didn't
by the
increase
people who
spending.
pay the most. But even more damning in the plan is these exemptions and deductions for the middle class and people who pay state income taxes. Because if you can't write off your state income tax, property taxes, you're going to have a much bigger tax bill. And that's what's happening.
We're gonna we're gonna see. I can't wait to see the
I mean,
actual breakdown of these 3 brackets.
well, what the 2 links I posted last in that one thread had a lot more information. The one was from Bloomberg and the other was from New York Times.
The corporate tax cuts look really nice. Big fan of that. Big fan of the business reform.
I'm
part
sure
of that.
GE and IBM are going to be thrilled.
It's it's interesting that well, particularly on the left, that we want America to be competitive, but we cry every time tax rates are, attempted to be cut down to a competitive rate. Like it's just it's just a lot of the things that people campaign for and say they want, they don't actually follow through on when it's time to actually put the votes forward and say, yeah, let's cut corporate tax rates down to 15%.
I mean, it's different once you own a business, man. I'm seeing that right now. I'm like, damn, I get taxed on everything.
Yeah, this is I'm a big fan of what he's trying to do. As far as business, the individual reforms,
The other
again,
stuff's going to hurt you, though.
yeah, I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna hold out judgment on the individual reforms until they show a little more information. But the business reform,
Yeah. But I guess I think people would maybe care more about, corporations and their tax breaks and, a fairer market for them if the American workers were getting a fair shake in the first place, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not being paid livable
I mean, they
wages,
can't even,
man.
I mean, if you don't have a livable wage and our, wage increases have been pretty stagnant,
While increasing
you get
taxes.
why would
into
they go to bat for that,
well, you get a situation where you're definitely not going to make everyone happy, but you can't complain about jobs leaving if you're not going to offer a
I don't know
competitive,
it's
cost.
about making
Man,
everybody
come on, man. That's a cop out because they're not even trying to keep jobs anyways, man.
Well, you gotta if you're not gonna be willing to compete as far as cost of doing business, then there's really it's not even a discussion to be had. Like if we're gonna basically say it's more expensive to do business here, period, and we're not gonna do anything to change that, there really is no discussion. There really is no why are jobs leaving discussion or anything like that. We're just not even trying to keep jobs. We're letting the jobs go.
But American corporations are the most profitable in the world half the time, so
I mean, but you know what's funny? The corporations don't even get penalized when they have like offshore accounts and they have did the pharmaceutical company relocate to Scotland because they wouldn't get taxed?
I don't even understand what that argument means. Like they're profitable. Like
Because they're running from being
but
taxed, and
but
it's like
that doesn't do anything to help jobs or people here in America. Like so they're
yeah,
making more money, so we're going to continue to punish them with
right?
tax rates so they can just stay overseas. Like, how are we hurting?
But see, that's the whole point. The government is in bed with them. That's why they don't hurt them. Come on, you know that.
I don't think you can blame workers. I don't think you can blame workers for that, Dad.
No, but I don't think that keeping the tax rate high actually does anything to benefit workers either.
No,
well, I think you could just close the loopholes, but nobody wants to do that.
That's not even on the table. I think making tax rates competitive is a bigger help to small business than it is a hurt to big business. Like I don't think you're doing anything to the Apple, PG&E. I don't think you're doing anything to those guys. You're not actually doing anything. These guys are helping write these policies. Like I think at some point you got. I mean, I don't think you're actually the targets that people have in their scopes for these kind of things aren't even being hit by it at all. Comcast, IBM, these guys they don't care less. They probably helped. They had a hand in writing this shit. Like they don't actually care. Just cut the tax rates, let business do what they do, and hopefully we can compete.
God, Comcast, man, or the Spectrum, dude. It's Spectrum now, man. Fuck.
It's all of them. I guess the tech industry is really an animal itself, but as far as manufacturing, I think Boeing is just so far ahead of the competition in terms of what they earn, what they bring in. It's just insane. Might even be our top export still. I'm not sure. And then obviously Microsoft, Apple, Google have a three-way monopoly. Google's insane. I'm just waiting for the government to turn their eyes on Google.
They already trying.
Google should be codenamed Skynet, 'cause I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? You know what's funny? You can't really get mad at Google because it's like, yeah, Microsoft was the top dog, but you know what's funny? Google started from just a basic search engine, and it just took off from there. I mean,
Nah,
if
you guys are
Microsoft,
sleeping on Amazon, man.
That's
yeah, but Amazon is like what they do what shipping and logistics. I mean,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
those are
man, dude.
one is
Amazon owns like all the web space on the internet, man. Like, have you guys noticed that shit? That even Facebook contracts out to Amazon for their web space, man. Like, don't sleep on Amazon, man.
yeah. Well,
well, there's still more. That's more service than
All right.
you know, whatever based. Yes, I mean,
competitive wages. This is going to be a very it's going to be a very interesting 4, likely 8 years that we're about to have.
I don't know if he's gonna get 8 though, man. I'm looking around and people are getting pretty proactive, man.
I think it's going to come down to results. Like, it's going to come down to results. If he can bring back enough jobs or put enough people back to work, he'll get reelected.
Is tomorrow the first 100 days?
I believe so. Which he cried about. I read something. He was not a fan of the 100-day measurement.
What?
Yeah.
Since when, man? Because didn't he say he wouldn't even go golfing until after the first 100 days? And he's been like 20 times. 20 times. Shit.
It's a stressful
I
job,
think
man. It's a stressful job.
oh, I think one of his statements in that AP interview was that there wasn't a 100-day promise. That was one of his things. He's like, well, I don't know anything about that. Maybe someone put that out. He doesn't want to take responsibility for anything.
What does he do, man? Like I'm trying to figure this shit out.
cool.
Trump, man.
You know who he does. He just sits there on his ass and lets somebody else make the laws. That's what he does. It's like he doesn't even care. It's like he doesn't even care to be president. It's like, come on, son.
Well, from what I kind of gathered, he was just as shocked as anyone else that he even won presidency. So he was like, "Wow, I just trolled my way there." Like he was shocked. He was like if you look at the people who are documenting him, he was legit shocked that he was winning and he actually won. Like he was like, "What?" Because all indication, everywhere in the news it was saying that he was gonna get blown to smithereens, but you know. He's just as shocked as anyone else at what happened, man.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean, it's like we have the middle American people voting for an actual buffoon, and they're falling for the con. And he knows it's a con. Everybody who's in the know knows it's a con. But the greater majority of people fall into that because either one, they're racist. Number two, they believe the lies. Number three, he's white. Number four, he's rich. So it's all a mix of the dumb people falling for the bullshit. And people who know better.
I don't think it's that simple. I think there's a lot of people that just feel strongly about immigration. And that was really a big
It wasn't just immigration. It was everything.
It wasn't just immigration, but that was a big issue for a lot of people. And I think there's a different set of priorities depending on where you are in the country.
I think what I've been figuring out is that Trump is one thing Trump is good at is he's good at marketing himself. And he really I didn't realize until recently how underrated social media is at just getting your word out. It's if you don't utilize social media today in the right way, like you can run a business off social media, a very profitable business off social media. And the fact that his presence was very heavy on Facebook and Twitter, that put him miles ahead of Hillary, and not just that, the way he markets himself, it's very simplistic in a way that anyone can understand what he's trying to say. He's not trying to use, he doesn't have a very extensive vocabulary. So, and if you're not as articulate,
it resonates with everyone. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and another thing, a lot of people a lot of people are complaining that he benefits from the policies that he's proposing, and it's kind of like he's a businessman, and he's trying. Not even he. The country wants to make things better for business. He's automatically
Right.
going to benefit from any policies that are good for business. It's kind of like, what does that
Right.
even mean? Like, should he never do anything good for business because he'll benefit? Like, he's going to make millions
Yeah.
of dollars on it. Okay, that's not a reason why he shouldn't do it if it's good for business. Like, I don't understand what that argument is actually trying to say. Like, he
Yeah.
shouldn't pass anything that he's going to benefit too much from. Is there a limit to how much he can benefit from it? I don't really gather that argument. You elected a businessman. Is he not supposed to help business now because he's a businessman? Is there a conflict of interest with him aiding the private sector? Just
Well, I think like I guess for me because I'm heavy into science. I think the conflict of interest is when you say you're pro business, but you're cutting other funds that are deemed necessary that other people deem necessary. Like you're cutting funding for the sciences, and or you don't care about different research and development industries and shit. Like it's like he favors one type of like a I, I don't know how to put it. It doesn't seem balanced.
hmm. You think he's anti-science?
Of course, he's anti-science.
Well, I mean,
Of course
yeah,
he.
man. I mean, he's against climate change, right? And like I don't know if you were paying attention this weekend, but they had a lot of marches throughout this country. There was a big march in support of the sciences, and a lot of scientists are now they're gearing up to go into politics because they're worried about their funding. You know what I'm saying? Like they they,
Right.
they know the only way that they can secure funding now is that they got to be a part of like the way the legislation that's being passed. Because
Right.
they're not being heard time after time again. They're just not being heard, and he's already made major cuts to the EPA, the FDA, like the services you think are garbage. But like I said, there's people who devote their life to this shit, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, there's that's one opinion. If you're heavily into science, no, I believe in climate change. For the record, I'm in full support of
sure, sure.
doing something about it. I don't think it's not real, and I don't think we should leave it up to Jesus. Not an evangelical nutcase.
Right.
But the immigration thing, I think, is why Trump's support stays strong. And I think we're seeing similar trends around the world with the French election and stuff.
Well, I mean, I get the rhetoric on, there like we've talked about before, there is no real base for saying that, there is no solid argument to say why our borders aren't secure,
Right.
but it's very, hypocritical that we're not worried about our border with Canada, we're not worried about our borders on the coast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's very much just like you said, keep the brown people out from the south.
Right.
And it's crazy how when he was running for election, he was fear mongering, saying ISIS is going to come through the border, which is total bullshit. Like that's but his constituents they still believe in this shit, man. That's a
Right.
scary thing.
Right. ISIS is gonna come through Mexico, and the wall's gonna stop drugs. It's like the silliest shit ever. It's the silliest shit ever. But we do need to get a hold of immigration. I don't think letting everyone in is good for the country or good for Black people. So I'm kind of
Yeah, I
on
mean,
board.
I totally get how it doesn't make sense that people come here the wrong way, the legal way, when there should be a system. But I get that argument. I can't really say, hey, he's here illegal, let him stay. I mean, he came here illegally, and I can't really defend that. But you know,
It's just kind of like I think it's an emotional argument you have to make about letting people be here, stay here, not splitting families up and all that.
there
Being a
you go.
decent human being, that's what they say all the time. We're just decent people. Be decent. Whatever the hell that means.
I mean, that's kind of the hypocrisy we've been seeing in the news is that the strong family values, but we're seeing that the people, the leaders of their movements are full of shit too, you know? They're constantly full of shit. I mean, this is like Bill O'Reilly had like the like fourth or fifth, you know, sexual allegation come out, and comes up night after night, you know, during his segments, he used to preach strong family values, and here it is, he's sexually harassing women for all these years.
Nah,
Even after Roger Ailes a year earlier had gotten caught and fired. You know,
it's not just the hypocrisy that kills me. It's the shit that he was doing to his family. That he was preaching strong family values, where he reportedly dragged his ex-wife down the steps by her hair backwards while the kids were watching it and beating her ass. That is strong family values, and I just was like, wow.
right. But I'm sure on TV, you know, when the Ray Rice incident came out, he was talking mucho shit about African Americans and blah blah blah. Matter of fact, I should pull that up. I need to watch.
The yeah, Bill O'Reilly is fucking. That's just a shame. Just a shame. It's just a shame. That's all you can really say is that's a shame. Like,
well, you know, we was talking about that last week, and I said, yo, Bill O'Reilly's an idiot because he has all this money. He couldn't even just buy a prostitute. What the fuck, man?
I mean, he can. There's fetishes for that. He could have bought, you know, an escort that would have been down to, you know, role play like that and shit too, man. Yeah. pretend to choke you. He could have paid for an exhibitionist that and it would have been totally legal, you know. There's a whole genre of that, you know. But yeah.
Hilarious.
You still have to do it by force.
Let me ask you guys a question about immigration. Well, first, are you guys pro-immigration? Are you guys pro-amnesty, just letting people in, or people who are here being allowed to stay here?
I mean, you know, it's funny. I never really like looked at immigration, just looked at it like a bad thing, you know. I mean, because you know it's funny, America has all this land just sitting there and nobody's there. It's like vacant land. And it's like, why don't you just put the immigrants on the vacant land? I mean, it wouldn't make like, why are they always coming to the city? Just put them in like bumfuck Missouri or some shit like that.
Put them in Fresno, man. Put them in Fresno.
Wow.
Nah, man, that's for your workers, right? You trying to grow that farm, right?
Oh, I'm not opposed to cheap labor. You know what? Being an employer has shifted my perspective on a lot of things. You know, allowing floods of people into the country pushes wages down, and it's actually makes it a employer's market even more so. Like, it's a good thing if you own a business, but and it's more customers. It's like all the way around good for you if you're an owner.
I'm thinking about just hiring, you know, college interns, man, because they never get that experience. But you know,
I was actually, you know, now that you mentioned it, I was thinking about starting a moving business where you move people's furniture when they're relocating or moving or whatever, and just hiring like college students. I saw one business like that already, and I was like, I could just copy them and I think I could do it better, like as far as marketing.
Yeah.
Like, I think I could just make what they do better. Just
just do it, man. Shit.
Yeah, just random thought. But yeah, shit like that, man. Like, or even if you just know a bunch of guys that aren't doing shit, man, moving people shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you know, people with messed up criminal records and shit, they need jobs too, man. Like, you don't gotta pay them $25 an hour. I mean, it sounds messed up, but
minimum wage. I try to pay everyone who works for me as low a wage as possible, as low as I can get away with. I'm not ashamed of it. Not ashamed of it. You want a livable wage? Don't work for me.
Well, you know what? California minimum wage is going up anyway. So yeah.
Unfortunately,
they're gonna get 15 an hour in a minute anyway. So yeah, that's good enough.
And it's scary. Like, that shit does hurt small businesses, man. Like, that shit is crazy. Like, yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. I guess we've accepted the trade-off. Like, it's gonna hurt a small percentage of employers, but you know, fuck the rest. Now we can hear you.
Okay.
So anyway, back when I started with the immigration thing, I wanted to ask you guys, do you think it hurts tolerance and inclusion in a country to allow an intolerant culture in?
Intolerant? Are you trying to say people from
Like,
the
does it
Middle East
hurt?
then, or
Like, just in general, does it hurt tolerance within your culture to allow people in that are intolerant?
But intolerant of what? What are you talking about?
Just intolerant in general of other races, religions, practices, values. Just in
I have not
you
bumped
pick.
into. I have not bumped into any crazy Islamic people in my life. You know?
Who say anything about Islam, man? Why are you just who say anything about
yeah,
Because
Islam?
he's saying
because
that
like
they can be like racist
because
Hispanics, man.
because you know
Yeah,
what's
they can
funny?
be
You know what's
anything.
funny when people say intolerant, like in the media, when they say intolerant, it always denotes Muslim faith. But you know what's funny? The most intolerant people are white Christian people.
I
I
was
mean,
just
think
thinking
about it.
that, man.
Yeah, exactly. See, am I lying? Come on.
Um, I don't. That's another conversation altogether. I think if you compared a Christian nation like the U.S. to a Muslim nation, you would find the Muslim nation is far more
And, and
intolerant.
the and the irony is, America did not even start out as a Christian nation. Everybody always makes that statement. It's a
Right.
Christian
Yeah,
nation. It is not a
it's
Christian.
pretty atheist, man.
You
It's
know
pretty.
what? There is a small country called Israel that begs to differ with that. I think we spend enough money, we give enough money to Israel to really just we are a Christian nation. We
I
we
mean, yeah,
we are a
shit.
Christian nation. We
I
put our
mean,
money behind being a
the
Christian
founder
nation.
fathers, the founder fathers shifted. See, you gotta understand, the founder fathers, when they made America, half of it was good, half of it was fucked up. Like, like they had good intentions, but they was intentionally fucked up people.
I'll say we weren't founded as a Christian nation, but we
Yeah,
definitely Christianity definitely guides this
it shifted.
country.
It shifted. It
Yeah, it
basically
definitely guides
shifted.
this country to today, and it's kind of faltering. I think the whole religious aspect is kind of losing its momentum and its strength for sure.
Yeah, and a
It's
lot of
losing it
people
all over the world.
Yeah,
are.
but I mean, I think to say that Christians are as intolerant today as Muslims are today is just dishonest. I think Islam is where Christianity was a few hundred years ago, and I mean they're both the same. They're both religions. They're both shady in the same way, but Christianity is a lot more developed than Islam is today.
Mhm.
Like I believe I just saw a video where homosexuals were being tossed off the roof of a building for being gay in in a Muslim country. Like it's just different right now.
Well, they have their own. I mean, come on, Islam is not gonna tolerate gay sex. Period. The gay people know that. The gay people know that. They know that over there it's not tolerated.
What are
Right.
you talking about? They do it all the time, man. We used to
I
clown
mean,
certain persons.
no,
Bakabazi, Bakabazi. You didn't heard
like
about the lost boys of Afghanistan?
no. But see, that's the hypocrisy I be talking about. It's like, yeah, they don't condone gay shit, but they have gay areas. Like I heard there's places in Turkey where gay people are allowed to be and like not touched. You know what I'm saying? Like they like the people don't fuck with them there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
all
there are
right,
certain safe areas where they are in
all
and,
right.
and Islam is
And when
countries.
people bring up white people, there seems to be like some sort of insinuation that Arabic people or people in the Middle East aren't racist, or that black people aren't hated on there too. Like
Yeah, they are.
you can't, yeah,
Yeah, they are. Who said that?
no, I'm just saying. But when you say white people are the most racist, or that Christians are the most intolerant, like it's the same shit goes on there. In addition to
I
in
don't live
addition
in
to
the
the
Middle
Sharia
East.
law, yeah.
I
In
don't
addition
live
to
in the
that
Middle
shit,
East. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know firsthand until I live there. You know, I
yeah,
can only say it as an American what I see in America. You know, I mean, I know there are bad issues with how the people that are Arabic and Islam and Muslim in countries how they treat black people over there. I know how they treat black people over there. It's very fucked up. And
So
what makes
so
what?
yeah.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna answer Dad's question, but
Yeah, go ahead, answer it. I'm good.
I was gonna say so Dad, to answer your question, I think what we're essentially trying to get at is that we in America, being in America, we come across um more intolerant people who are not Native Americans but are Anglo-Saxon Americans, or
right.
then we come across intolerant people who are other that are maybe Hispanic or from someplace in the Middle East.
Right.
So the intolerant saying whoever's intolerant um, as an immigrant isn't as much of a factor as we face the intolerance from Anglo-Saxons here. So it's not. It still doesn't register as a big a deal because I think a lot of people learn pretty quick. From my experience, is that they learn pretty quick that they're hated just as much by there's a system of creation. They understand there's like a system of like white supremacy and shit, so they learn not to kind of like trust them and either. So it's yeah, it's the second generation where they start getting comfortable and they start they might be more intolerant,
It becomes more
like
refined.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they believe the stereotypes and shit. But their parents who are firsthand and they like think of it. If you're a first generation immigrant, and you're hearing the shit Trump is saying, and you see the people who hate you for no fucking reason, and you don't see any reason why you may live next to black people, and you're like, why should I hate them? They're not doing shit to me. It doesn't
Right.
register. Like my enemy is this guy right here. He says he blatantly hates me. He blatantly calls me a sand blah blah blah. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't register.
And I had an alt writer explain to me the whole wall down south thing, Norman, that you were mentioning, how they don't have one or they're not proposing one for the northern border or for the coast. He actually had a good argument. He was like, the people that immigrate here from the north or from India or Asia or wherever, Europe, where have you, uh, those are usually like people
Educated or
who can't afford to get here. They're usually the smartest, the best, and the brightest that come here from those countries. They're usually people that come here that have an education. They come here and do well, become doctors and this and that. They don't feel like that's the case with people coming from Mexico. They feel like there is definitely a difference between immigrants from, say, Japan and immigrants from Mexico.
Yeah.
And like, and they don't think it's racist to point out that there's a difference between these immigrants. And you can debate whether it's racist or not, but it actually makes sense that they don't categorize all immigrants as just immigrants. I think we hear 88 now, but he's having mic issues.
yeah, I don't hear him at all, man.
I can
I'm
see
not Sorry, I'm
oh.
just kind of multitasking, but
X videos.
I just think
Nothing wrong with that. Little X hamster, nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I think immigration's become an oversized issue that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, I get it that it taxes on our resources, but at the same time, um, how many people, how many Americans are gonna want to domestically born Americans are gonna want to do the shit they do, like work at McDonald's 40 hours a week.
Let me ask you a question about that. All three of you, like, do you think immigration, as far as allowing people into the country, like being lax on immigration, do you think that benefits the left or the right more?
Let's see. It probably benefits. Damn.
Both of them, I think. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
different issues.
Yeah.
All right. Well, people on the right feel it benefits the left a lot more, as far as like, as far as government, as far as social safety nets go, they figure that's way more appealing to immigrants coming to the country, and they feel like in a somewhat democratic system, it'd become harder and harder to win elections if they just freely allow immigrants in.
Oh,
Especially,
okay. I got you.
Especially when their party is, historically been the party of racism and Nazis. Like, they feel like allowing more minorities into the country puts them in a worse position to,
Yeah, they're worried about the second generation that can actually
right,
vote
exactly.
take
And
away.
it's
The shift of
and
power. Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, I never make that argument myself. I do fear a single party more than I do this two-party bullshit we have now. So I actually kind of listen to that argument and think it's a very, salient one. because imagine if it was just Dems, there was no opposition. Like we couldn't democratically have, a Republican win.
I don't think that would happen though, honestly. I just think you would see more of a shift to the left or to the center. The Republican Party is an extremist.
They gotta evolve, man. Yeah, exactly. The problem is they're very homogenous. They gotta evolve. That's the point. You need to reach out to different platforms. They're just comfortable with being, the very homogenous, fuck other races, fuck other cultures party, man. They're not even trying. It's like they're not trying. Like they're not. They're very inclusive. So
the Republicans made a choice, and they chose to be, racist, anti-science. Their economics suck. So, I think with any educated population, it's gonna have a hard time surviving.
Well, they're doing pretty good right now.
Well, give it some time. I mean, what happened this year? I think it's a fluke, but demographics aren't on their side. I mean, they wouldn't be complaining about immigrants if they weren't afraid.
This is true.
And I mean, like, look, and like you're finally getting a Democratic opposition in the South, like in a place like Georgia, man. Like, what the hell is this? It's been like 30 years. It's been like 40 years, and but they're getting scared. You can't tell me. You had like a representative around Atlanta. She was crying. She was saying, "I hope Trump shows up for and shows me some support in person because she's gonna need it." She because the guy only lost her incumbent had like 48% of the vote. Like 48%. They're getting close. It's normally like a 46. I mean, it's normally like a 40 to like 60, Republican favor whenever elections are held. So they're getting scared, man.
It's well, the Democratic Party has a long ways to go. Like I'm really beginning to believe Trump's going to do 8. Like he's going to get reelected. Like the Democratic Party, they're putting way too many eggs in this. He's a Russian plant basket. Like they're really Putin to come through. And,
I don't think so. You can say what you want about the Russian plant and everything else, but when you look at everything that has happened in regards to the Russia question, it's pretty fucking damning. Whether Trump has compromised himself, I don't even know if that matters. The head of the NSC was forced to resign because of questions about foreign agent. And he did take money from all of these governments that he never reported. That's pretty bad. And it's not just him. It's like 10 other people in the administration and surrounding the administration and part of his transfer team. I think you can't ignore that.
Yeah, I think it's bad, but I don't think the amount of concentration on it helps Democrats win seats in Congress, which is where they need them.
But I don't think that's the only focus. I mean, there's so many things that have happened which just kind of fly under the radar at this point, which is wrong. But, the stuff like, all of the things that Trump is doing, you have constitutional issues there that have never gotten addressed. His taxes, the nepotism, all of the laws that he's passing and being put in charge of.
Yeah.
A lot of it benefits him. So,
I mean,
the Republicans want to have it both ways. And I think any thinking person is, kind of scratching their head at a lot of the stuff that's going on policy-wise. I'm not just talking about the left.
And all of you guys are in favor of the judges temporarily shitting on his executive orders to defund sanctuary cities.
As judges, that's their right.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think it holds up if it goes to the Supreme Court though?
I don't even think they'll make it that far.
Hmm.
He can just keep throwing money at this, but if the issues aren't found, which the judges keep finding, that's not going to change. So, I just don't see where, it's not going to just come to a judge all of a sudden. They'll be like, oh, no, there's no constitutional issues here. And they can't keep rewording the language to make it seem like it's one thing when it's not. I mean, their admitted goal in a lot of these things, it's unconstitutional. So I don't, you can decry the decisions, but the judges have the ultimate say. And I don't think Trump understands how judges work, and I don't think his policies.
I don't think he understands how government works. Shit.
Yeah.
Which ironically is a large part of why he was elected. He was an outsider. People were anti-establishment.
They don't seem to get that that's what kind of keeps this whole thing rolling. It seems like they want to dismantle the system, but the system is what keeps the government actually functioning. They can't just blow up, the tax code and the health, the health laws that we have, and think there's not going to be a fallout.
Interesting.
And the Republican Party, I mean, they shut the government down like what, once or twice in the last 8 years?
Twice, I believe. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and each time, I think at least once the credit got downgraded for the country, if not twice. And
So
that's not something that any American should stand behind.
And it's amazing to list all the faults of the GOP or all the missteps, and then they still just gave the Democratic Party a shellacking. Like, how bad are Dems if they lost to all of that? Like, they must have been just either their message was off, they ran shitty campaigns, or they're just completely out of touch and have no idea what they're doing.
I mean, what it was again was that it's the simple fact that
not just in the White House, like just all the way across the board, they've just been whooped.
Well, I think a lot of people were just disgusted by the process, man. Like that's just what it was. Like, people weren't enthusiastic to go vote. Period. We already know people don't vote in the midterm elections for shit. But
yeah, I mean, it's the vote,
and that's just it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the voting, it's the census, it's the gerrymandering. I mean, you can't just pick one and say, oh, well, Dems had a bad candidate, or they've had a few bad candidates, or
it's the system.
Policy. People set up, and people don't vote, and people don't want to have any. We don't want to participate in government, and then you have.
And it's just not even convenient, man. Nobody wants to sit in the line for 2 damn hours. God.
No, and I mean, a lot of that's by design. You look at things like, the DMV closures and the polling fucking closures.
Yep.
One of the things that has to be appreciated about the Trump administration, though, is the number of people that has gotten involved in politics or paying attention to politics and economics in the country. It's really
one would hope it would drive some type of response.
Yeah, for sure. Like more people seem interested in what's going on, than ever before. Whether for the wrong or right reasons, they're still paying attention.
But you know what's funny? Nobody really addresses the big elephants in the room, such as outside third parties and the lobbying issues. Nobody addresses them. It's real, and nothing will change without that being addressed first.
Well, it's kind of too big to address. Congress isn't gonna pass anything that fucks Congress, and they benefit from lobbying. So you're just kind of, you can talk about it all you want. Nothing's gonna happen. Like,
that's not gonna change, man.
Yeah, you're literally asking them to vote against their own best interests or self-interest.
I think the issue is going to have to get pushed at some point, because it's obvious that the taxpayers, the people who do actually vote, they're the ones who are continuing to lose. And I think that's going to start to resonate with people if it hasn't already, because the way I see it, American taxpayers keep getting the short end of the stick no matter what happens.
This is actually this exact point is where I was in a libertarian chat room the other day, and it's just like this is where there's like a leap made by liberals, like we talk about lobbying and Congress not being in a position to really fix that, or having a reason to fix it, and then for some reason somehow things somersault backflip and we're blaming the large corporations, and we've already absolved Congress from any wrongdoing. It's like it's these big companies that run Congress, it's these big companies that are lobbying Congress, and we're totally like putting it all on these companies, and Congress is just how are things going to change if they're not held accountable? They should be held the most accountable because they're elected officials. Why are we holding private corporations more accountable than those officials that we elected to serve us? Like I just don't understand.
But it's the unelected officials that Congress puts into power that have allowed this stuff to happen. That's
but all of it still falls back on Congress, though.
Listen, it does. But, I mean, you're welcome to attack the capitalist system, Dad, if you want to. I just don't know if that's going to work out very well.
Nothing's been working out very well.
What the issue is, though, that you allowed the Supreme Court and Congress, but the buck falls, I guess, on Congress for allowing these people to get elected to the Supreme Court, who will allow things like Citizens United and fucking Hobby Lobby to happen in the first place. The antithesis of the Constitution.
It's like the system is fucking people left and right. You would think there would be more people giving a serious look at the one party that's completely anti-system. But I mean, I understand there's a big boogeyman thing about the
that
whole
only goes so far too.
I know the free market and all of that is really scary, but there is a party that's actually saying fuck the establishment and everything that you guys are complaining about.
Yeah, but what you're advocating at the end of the day is the same thing that's reinforcing what's going on. You want less regulation, and then the problem is that there isn't regulation in the first place. And you have regulation and laws that are passed that don't benefit the taxpayers. That's the problem. In the system and getting rid of the system, that's not going to fix anything, because at the end of the day, money is just
how do you pay for shit?
That's the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the Citizens United. That's the Hobby Lobby, and that's all that fucking conservative, think tank bullshit that gets pushed onto the taxpayer, and the taxpayer loses, and the corporations win. So just saying, "Oh well, libertarianism will fix everything." That's really
that was not that was not said. That's another. I'm gonna save that topic. No one's.
That's what you were trying to say, man.
No, I said I'm just surprised more people don't give it, an actual look or serious consideration, considering that it is the anti-establishment party, and the establishment is just invincible at this point. It's just this continues to fuck people through an extremely convoluted system of exchanges. It's just it's a mess. Just something to think about. All right, that's time. Go ahead and call it.
All right, later.
Later.
All right, man. Peace.